Hi, welcome to my video. This time I am going to show you assembly. How easy it is to assemble a card, a layout, whatever, using this lovely ruler from close to my heart. It is a fantastic tool. Of course, I've also got my Versamat here, which makes things easy as well. And I'm just going to kind of walk you through this. So, working on this card, and it gives me the step-by-step instructions. It also gives me all the dimensions. And so it tells me kind of how to put it together. This is a pretty simple card because it is centered. So very simple. So I'm going to do it sideways just because that's the way I'm sitting and the way that my mat works. So apologize for that, but hopefully it all makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get my tape runner and start to put adhesive on. This is double-sided paper, light on one side, true color on the other. This one calls for me to use the light color up. So we don't need a ton of adhesive. That's one thing I find a lot of beginning scrapbookers, card makers, they just load up the adhesive. As long as you have a good adhesive, you don't want to worry about that. This is Tombow, the Mono Dots. This is one of my favorites. Close to my heart carries some Tombow adhesive. We also carry some other brands. I just find this one is quick and easy. I really like the dots. I find issues with it when it's a solid tape runner. But anyway, back to work here. So what I need to do here is get this one in place. So my dimensions tell me that I need to have it 1 3/8 down from the top, and I need to have it 1/4 in from the side. So this is what I like to do. This ruler has a grid pattern on it. Hopefully you can actually see that. You can see it like that. This grid pattern, each one of those is 1/8 of an inch. So that makes it super quick to line these things up. So I take my ruler, I put it on the edge, I go 2 squares in, and I line up that line. So sorry, it might be a little bit difficult for you to see because of the angle, but I've lined up the edge. I don't worry about my mat at this point. A lot of people do use the mat, but I find I need another ruler with that to line it up, and it doesn't have 1/8, and on a card we're using the 1/8, so that's pretty important. So I'm in 1/4, and I want to go down 1 3/8, and I forgot to line up to the 1-inch mark, so I'm just going to slide that down. So see, this is really the hardest part, is just lining that up. So I'm at a 1-inch mark. I'm going to come down 1 inch and then 3/8, so 1 2 3 of the squares, and that's my spot. And I just line it up with the edge of the ruler because I know that I'm 1/4 inch in. So it's that quick, that easy. I take my second piece, get the adhesive on there. I look at my dimensions. I'm 1/2 inch from the edge of the blue paper, and then I'm 1 1/8 down. So I said I'm 1/2 inch, so I want to get 1/2 inch. So that's 4 of the squares. And I'm going to line up again with the edge of my card. Make sure I'm nice and straight and square. Push down on it, take my paper, come down 1 inch and 1/8, and that's not lining up. Oh, because I have to turn it. 1 inch and 1/8. There we go. Now it lines up. See, look at that. So there we go. Now I'm going to show you a little trick. I've got these other 2 pieces of paper, but what they want me to do is they want me to dovetail these. So dovetailing is easy, but also hard because you want to make sure that you're in the center. Otherwise it looks funny and askew. So here's a really simple tip. I take my scissors, I take my piece of paper, and I use my mat for this. So this piece of paper is actually 1 1/4. So what I do is, for me, the easiest way is I take one of the heavy lines and I line it up in the middle. Because I don't have a line, I am just kind of guessing. But I put my scissors on that heavy line, I line this up, and I make my cut up the middle. So I put a little cut there, and then it's super easy for me to just go and meet my scissors in that midpoint. And then I have a nice, lovely dovetail. So we'll show you that one more time. This one's a little bit smaller. And again, it's a little bit of eye work here because I want it to be in the middle and I don't have those extra marks on here, so I just use my eye. Hopefully you can see. I can try doing it this way and see if that works better. See how I line that up? I'm going to put my scissors on there. Get that lined up. Mark my little spot in the middle. Make my cut. A little bit of a guess as to how high you want to go up. It is hard to see, but probably with the camera, but with being in person, it depends on the color of the paper sometimes too. It's hard to see that little mark that you've made, but this really does make it so much easier. So there you go. Now I've got another dovetail, and they're nicely centered because I went up the middle first. So really like that tip. That's something we learned from our corporate team at Close to My Heart. They're very helpful with giving us tips to make everything easier. So back to here, I'm going to now line up these pieces. So this piece I want to be 3/8 from the top, and I want to be 1 3/4 from the edge. So again, this is a 2-inch ruler, so anything up to 2 inches is very simple to use. So 1 3/8. Make sure I get this right. Oh no, sorry, 1 3/4 from here. So that takes me to that line. Get that nicely lined up. Oh, I didn't put my adhesive on. I leave it sitting there. That pretty much stays there unless I bang it. Okay, and then I'm going to come down 3/8. So 1 2 3. Again, whoops. Just lay that down. Now I can go to my next one. And I am, where is it? 7/8 from the top and 3/4 from the edge of this. So it'll be 3/4 from the edge of this one as well. So again, I'm just lining up this line, that 3/4 line. Sometimes you have to check it a couple of times just to make sure you've counted them right, because there's lots of little squares on here. So there's my 3/4 in, and I said 7/8 down. So that's just 1 shy. So again, because I'm starting to get layers build up, what happens is this doesn't necessarily push down as evenly, so I just gotta gently set it down and line it up. So there we go. Look at that. So super fast, super easy. Line that up. I'm going to take my little circle here. I'm going to stick some foam tape underneath. These Close to My Heart scissors are great because they're non-stick. I had other scissors which were great and sharp and tiny like this, but they weren't non-stick. So I was constantly picking adhesive off of them and having to clean them. Major pain. These ones do not get stuck up. This is just cheap dollar store foam tape. I use it all the time, especially on cards, because cards don't usually last that long. And so why spend good money on something that somebody's just going to throw in the garbage? So again, I can use my ruler for this, but I'm just, I have to put a little bit of ribbon on there. So I better wait. So let me, whoops. Let me just pause there, and I'm going to do a second video on some other techniques for this, okay? I will see you soon.